Hey, Spider, what are you smoking? What's up, Bladers? Joe100 here, back with another video, and in this video, I am going to be doing another Hasbro rant. Yes, I said another because I actually did one of these. This was actually one of my last videos that I did before I quit YouTube in 2016. I'm gonna leave a card right here, but basically, I went on my first Hasbro rant when Hasbro didn't even release Burst yet. Just we got the leaks, and I was pissed off. Literally, I made a video saying Hasbro sucks, and then I made a video saying I'm quitting YouTube and Beyblade. So I guess you can see a correlation there. In a way, Hasbro's execution of Burst was a big part of me leaving Beyblade. Thankfully, it didn't last. As you can see, I'm back. But dude, I got a lot of hate on that video, man. I had to turn off the likes and dislikes, but oh my god, dude. Like, you Hasbro fans, yo, you guys came on me. I wasn't even on YouTube, and like, when I came back, I would check that video, and there was this one dude. You know what? Like, should I even say his name? Okay, I'll say it. I don't want to give screenshots because he deleted all of his comments when I came back to YouTube, but I'm not kidding. This dude, Spider-Man, used to periodically come back on my video and defend every single point. There would be people saying, yeah, Joshua's right. Hasbro sucks. And he would come back like every month, bro. This dude came back to my video every month for like 3 years just defending it and arguing with people in the comments, bro. Then I replied one time and I was like, bro, I'm back on YouTube now. And he was like, oh, great to see you back. Like, but deleted all his comments, yo. Sorry, I just had to shout that man out. Yo, this video's for you, Spider, once again. But let's go into part 2, man. Hasbro's now onto QD. As we now know, Burst is pretty much ending with DB or Dynamite Battle. And I guess that means Quad Drive is probably going to be the last season of Hasbro. So, unlike my first video where Hasbro Burst just got announced, this video is really the wrapping up and to kind of, I don't know, solidify everything I said in the first video. So, yeah, dude, we're back. So, I just want to redo those points in my part 1 because they all still apply, dude. They all still apply right now, and it's crazy. I like foresaw all of this, and I had like over 100 people like attacking me on that video just to let you know I was right. But let's get into that. So first thing I wanted to talk about was how like the bays that Hasbro was selling to the consumer was not even featured in the anime. And what I meant at that time was like, yeah, you know, I used to relate it to Metal Fight Beyblade. I would look at Aries changing modes, or like Big Bang Pegasus, you know, changing modes with FD, and then Hasbro would release some stupid stuff. They would literally release you know, like a hollowed out wheel, and you know, R2F from Galaxy Pegasus. Didn't make any sense. It's like, dude, as a kid, I was watching the 4D show, Metal Fury, and I was like, I'm so hyped to get this Beyblade. And then I went in the store and was so let down. Hasbro continued that. But you know what? They did it even worse now. Because at that time, I used to at least see what the 4D gimmick was. But after Cho-Z or Turbo / you know, Slingshock, they literally would edit out the anime, which I didn't even know until recently. Like, dude, seriously? Hasbro literally edited out these Burst gimmicks out of the anime so these kids wouldn't even know that they existed. Like, how crazy is that? How crazy is that? Okay, so that's first off. Second, I mean, I don't know, a lot of you guys like these names like Rocktavor and Balkesh and Valstriek. I hate them. Sorry to say it, but I think it's very cringy, all the Hasbro names. So that was a point that I made because at that time we did get the leaks of the names. And yeah, I do not like those names. I think they are very cringy, but that's more opinion based. I don't know. That's not really factual at all. So I'll skip over that point, really. Another thing that pisses me off, man, is the Hasbro stadiums, bro. The Hasbro stadiums. So it really is such a shame, too. When I think about Hasbro and how they made their stadiums, because during Metal Fusion and I would say maybe, actually not even Metal Masters. It was literally only Metal Fusion, if I'm remembering correctly. Where we had sort of stadiums that allowed us to have stadium out pockets. Now, granted, that wasn't no BB10, absolutely not, but at least it was better than what they gave us after. Starting Metal Masters, and especially during Metal Fury and Shogun Steel, we literally got bowls. Literal bowls. That's it. We just got bowls. Like, how absurd is that? That, you know, as a kid, I didn't have too much money, and that's what we were battling in. Like, attack types were useless, you know? You had a Phantom Orion back in the day in a Hasbro stadium, and you're set, dude. Like, you're set. So, nah, that was wild. And you know what? They did the same thing with Burst, except, actually, they started changing that a little later. So, the first couple seasons, or maybe the first 2 seasons, I would say, when it came to Hasbro Burst, the stadiums, they tried to make them very creative. And you know what? They weren't as terrible as they originally were. So I'm gonna kind of give that to Hasbro, but not really, because I still hated them. And I still would never battle in them. If I had something like a standard stadium, I would never even touch a Hasbro stadium. But for a little kid who, you know, like wanted to battle in a stadium, those stadiums were pretty cool. A lot of them had stadium out pockets and stuff, so that was pretty cool. There was like slopes and stuff, so not bad. At least they weren't bowls, you know. Like, I know the first season just had bowls, just like Metal Fury, so that sucks. Really pissed me off. That's pretty much all I really talked about in my first rant, though, you know. And all of that still applies. I still hate the stadiums, I still hate the names, and I still hate that these kids, like, because I'm not really watching the anime right now, but these kids are watching the Beyblade anime and don't have the option to buy the Beyblades in store. That sucks, and that still pisses me off. So, I mean, at the end, and by the way, when I was talking about stadiums, there is one stadium that I will say, okay, this is pretty valid, and I'm going to hint at it with this picture, but we're going to talk about Pro Series right at the end of the video, because at the end of the video, I'm going to talk about some of the stuff, you know, I know it's barely anything, but some of the stuff that Hasbro did good when it came to Beyblade. We're not going to talk about it now, though, yo. I'm in rant mode, so let's get started. First off, dude, I don't know, like, I feel like Hasbro, like, when it came to them and Beyblade, at least in plastics, I wasn't really into Beyblade during Plastic Gen, so I can't really tell you, but I have some friends that were, and I, you know, been in the community long enough, so I do have an idea. It seems like they were pretty much the same. If I can remember correctly, there was only like a couple bays that were slightly modified when it came to the Hasbro version versus the TT version, but other than that, they were pretty similar, and the same kind of applied when Hasbro started making Metal Fight, you know, once we got out of the Plastic Gen and entered Metal Fight. The same kind of applied, you know, when it came to Metal Fusion. It was really dope. I mean, the bays were exactly the same, and Hasbro even went as far as to make them the same colors, and even release string launchers, which were almost identical to TT, as well as some other accessories like the Beyblade or Baydeck case, you know? Hasbro released that, which was awesome, you know? That was a TT product. And another thing that Hasbro did, which, you know, I was going to talk about this at the end of the video, but I'm going to talk about it now since we're talking about Metal Fight. But this is probably the greatest thing Hasbro has ever done in all their years of doing Beyblade. And that is not just making the Rev Up launcher, but I don't know if you guys know this, Hasbro created the Rev Up launcher. That's right. Takara Tomy actually copied Hasbro when Takara Tomy released the Rev Up launcher in the Fang Leon and Big Bang Pegasus set. That was a Hasbro creation, dude. And yeah, dude, that was some props to Hasbro. I mean, they released the Rev Up launcher during Metal Fusion and Metal Masters. Big thumbs up, and that's probably, yeah, the best thing and the only thing I can truly stand behind. Like, wow, good job, Hasbro, because to this date, there's not a better Beyblade launcher than the Rev Up launcher. So that's a big thumbs up. But yeah, Metal Fusion was awesome, and Metal Masters was great too. They gave us the triple packs. They also released some bays that Takara Tomy even didn't, like Grand Capricorn. That's a good example. Grand Capricorn was in the anime, and we didn't really get a release from Takara from that, but you were able to get it in the Team Starbreakers 3-pack, which was awesome that you're actually able to do that. And Hasbro made it a lot easier to get some of these really cool bays, you know, like Hell Kerbex, Twisted Tempo, Gravity Perseus, Evil Befall. Like, I mean, it's not like these bays were hard to get, but like, you know, it was pretty good. They were pretty good competitively, so Hasbro allowed us to get that. But Oh man, this is where they really messed up, dude. And this is where Hasbro took a complete turn because up until Metal Masters, it was good. Metal Fury, man. Metal Fury. Wow. Like, really? Really? This still pisses me off to this day. You know, I have friends who are my age, early 20s, late teens, who were in the Metal Fight era. They were kids during, just like I was during Metal Fight, and they got out of Beyblade. Not just stopped and hated Metal Fury. No, they got out of Beyblade as soon as Metal Fury dropped, and I do not blame them at all. Metal Fury sucked, yo. That was the most like hated thing ever, you know, and it's really because of two things. One thing, or actually they're all the same thing. It's one reason, and that's because of the lack of 4D gimmicks. Instead of giving us 4D wheels, Hasbro took the wheels from how they look to the naked eye and just hollowed everything out. They hollowed them like a complete like cheap version of a 4D gimmick. They took these wheels and hollowed them out, which was so pointless. And on top of that, instead of giving us drives like Delta Drive or Final Drive, they gave us reused parts. And they tried to finesse it like that. I already ranted about the stadiums that we got in Metal Fury, the Bulls. But man, it was L after L after L. It was such a shame. And you know, there was one thing that saved Hasbro during this time, Beyblade Legends, but I'm going to talk about it after because, yeah, it is not really needed right now, but yeah, Hasbro messed up big time in Metal Fury. And when it came to Shogun Steel, a lot of people liked it. I also don't like it. And that's also 50-50 for me. See, Shogun Steel pissed me off just like Burst pissed me off. The names were so whack, dude. The names were so whack. Like, Shinobi Saramanda became Ninja Salamander. Like, what, dude? Like, that didn't make any sense. They just made all the names, like, real. Like, Genbu sounds fine. Why did you make it Genbu, you know? Garago sounds fine. Why did you make it Zerago? Like, it didn't make any sense, some of these names, dude. I swear. So, that was annoying. Also, they went as far as to give us actual chrome wheels and parts, which was dope. Okay, I appreciate that. But why did they change the colors on some of this stuff? Like I don't get that either. Why, you know, did that even happen? Like, the colors weren't even all the same in all these bays. But I can't hate on Hasbro too much for Shogun Steel because they did give us easy access to some great chrome wheels, which to this date are worth a lot of money. Stuff like Dragoon. We even got a black Dragoon, which Takara Tomy released as a limited edition, and it's super expensive, but Hasbro gave us a black Dragoon. Hasbro also gave us, they didn't give us Balro, but they gave us Garago, and probably the biggest W Hasbro took during Shogun Steel was giving us access to Genbul and F230. Granted, Hasbro's F230 sucks, but it's pretty good if you don't have a TT F230. And damn, dude, we really got Genbul from that. We didn't get Yvang either, but Genbul, big W. So yeah, that's enough about Metal Fight, really, and like plastics. Let me talk about Burst now because, wow, like, Hasbro sucks, dude. And I'm going to be explaining the real reason Hasbro sucks at the end of the video, at the end of this rant, so stay tuned, but I just got to recap all of that first. I mean, the first two seasons were all right, you know? Like, in my original video, I was hating on Slopes, but I can kind of see how Slopes aren't as bad, you know, at least there's not teeth wear, you know, so it's not terrible. And what they did in the first two seasons was, it was pretty cool. I mean, the first season, the colors were a little different. It was like made with like kind of a foggy, cloudy plastic, which isn't terrible, right? But at least they were pretty similar, you know, and the Slopes were there, so yeah, I don't like Slopes, but I can see why people like Slopes, you know? I mean, something like my Roar Bahamut has Slopes, and it's pretty dope in battles, so at least it can kind of compete. What pisses me off, though, is with that entire concept is that not everything is interchangeable. See, at least in Metal Fight, even during Metal Fury, when they gave us terrible products, I could still switch it with my Takara Tomy products. That was still, like, fine, you know? You can't really do that in Burst. They don't let you. It's a completely different gimmick, you know, Slopes and teeth. And that's only in the first two seasons, man. Afterwards, it became impossible to switch parts, but we'll get into that later. I'm still on the first two seasons. I mean, you know, but it wasn't terrible. The designs were similar, and when it came to God, or season 2, or what was it called? Switch Strike, I believe. Like, that was pretty dope, you know? Hasbro didn't include any stickers with Burst. They actually stopped including stickers in Metal Fury, if I believe. I think the last stickers we really got was Metal Fusion, Metal Masters. So Hasbro's done with stickers. They decided a long time ago that's a waste of money, which, you know, screw you, Hasbro, thanks a lot. But at least in God, or Switch Strike, they actually tattooed the stickers on the base. So you didn't even need that. So that's pretty dope. And also, it was on point with Takara Tomy. I mean, when it came to the colors and the designs of the bays and everything, it was pretty dope. Same combos, and yeah, that was dope. So Switch Strike and Season 1 was pretty good. But here's where things got really, really messy when it came to Chozy / Turbo, or as Hasbro's gimmick called it, the Slingshot. Wow, what a mess that was, dude. What a mess. How can any Hasbro fan defend Hasbro after Slingshot? You want to defend Hasbro in Season 1 and 2? That's alright. Do your thing, dude. But really, like, oh my god, that really was the turning point. I mean, they took out the metal in the layers, which sucked, and this is when they started. Actually, I talked about this in the beginning of the video, but it was during Turbo where they started removing and editing the anime so that the consumer wouldn't be able to see that, oh wait, the Bay I'm getting in store is not this, it's not what I'm seeing in the anime. That's when they started that, dude. So that's a big red flag already. But yeah, there was no metal in the layers at all, and there was no gimmicks. There was no gimmicks from the anime. Like, everything was just weird. You know, it didn't make any sense. And because they, like, hollowed out a bunch of stuff and took the metal out, the God Bays, which was literally a whole generation, or not generation, a whole season before Turbo, the God Bays were better. Like that doesn't make any sense. It's literally reminding me of Metal Fight, you know? And if you actually, like, listen to everything I said and you've only been into Burst, I hope you listen to that first part of the video, because I'm giving you real insight on what Hasbro was like as a Metal Fight Beyblade kid, and they did the same thing in Burst, dude. The same damn thing. It came around for the 3rd season, and Hasbro decided, you know what? We got fans, we got people who like Beyblade, we got loyal customers, let's screw them over. And that's exactly what happened. You know, it was just like Metal Fury was Season 3, Turbo was also Season 3, and they screwed everything up. How is the Beyblades from the previous gen going to be better than the current gen, you know? So that really blew. But after that, GT or Rise came around, and Hasbro introduced the Hypersphere system. And that was also terrible, dude. That was terrible. I mean, GT had, like, awesome new gimmicks, but Hasbro didn't want to do any of them, you know? They took out everything. Like, GT was a great season. If anything, I think GT's probably my, like, top, not even top 3, probably like top 2 Beyblade Burst seasons. Like, I loved GT, and I know a lot of people did too, but Hasbro completely butchered GT, and they let me try to remember. They hollowed out the layers. Oh, and they took out the layer weights. They literally painted on these layer weights. Like, that didn't make any sense. And for some bays like Judgment Joker, like, there was no rubber in the actual bay, which was a crucial part of that Beyblade's design. And just completely butchered the drivers. Like, we didn't even get actual drivers anymore. These were literally, like, ball type, like, round drivers, like spheres, kind of. And it was just the stupidest thing ever. So Hasbro completely ruined GT, and as you can see the pattern I'm talking about, except for the first 2 seasons, because I think God or Switch Strike was the best Hasbro season. So after that, you can kind of just see how everything's going downhill, right? Then we get to Surge, or Sparking, which was also known as Speedstorm, and wow. Like, where do I even start with this too? Because all the drivers were taller for absolutely no reason, like literally no reason at all. And like, same thing in GT or Hypersphere. They hollowed out the layers, right? And they didn't include the gimmicks. So they didn't include any of the GT gimmicks in Hypersphere, but during Surge or Speedstorm, they didn't include the limit break system. So it didn't make sense. They hollowed out the layers, they didn't include the limit break system, and they didn't give us chassis either. They literally just gave us regular discs. So, like, dude, what was the point of that, you know? Like, really, I don't understand. And on top of that, they just kept recycling parts. It's exactly like what happened in Metal Fury, you know? There wasn't too many new parts, got rid of the chassis and stuff, and it was just like, dude, what a shame that was. And on top of that, in the anime itself, one of the biggest things was the launcher, the sparking launcher. Like, Takara Tomy literally made one that lit up when you launched it. And Hasbro tried, right? But it was just so terrible compared to, like, what it actually should have been. And, like, what a shame that is, dude. What a shame. Then we get to QD, Quad Drive, right? Which is what we're on right now. I'm pretty sure by the time this video gets uploaded, Hasbro is still going to be making Quad Drive videos, or Quad Drive Beys. And yeah, this isn't looking great either, if I'm going to be honest, because they gave us plastic armor for no reason. Didn't make any sense. And all the drivers have this attachment, which also doesn't make sense. So DB Beys have a high mode and low mode, but Quad Drive has a high mode and low mode too, I'm pretty sure. But now you have a high driver and a low driver mode. Like, I'm not even sure how that thing even works. Like, why is there even another extra attachment when it comes to the drivers? Like, I really don't understand. And on top of that, they stripped the gimmicks. Again, they do this every single season, as you can see, but they did it again in DB. You know, like here's a picture of Salvage Valtryek versus Savior Valkyrie. Like, what? That didn't make any sense, dude. Like, this is you, and this is the dude that she tells you not to worry about. Like, yo, get out of here, bro. Get out of here. Like, oh, that didn't make any sense. And another thing too, which I don't own any QD, so I can't even verify this, but I've heard this from the community. The molds of the cores, like in the base itself, is reused. It's reused from GT. So like really Hasbro? So, you know, I kind of just went through every single system that Hasbro released and gave my very negative opinions on it, which if you didn't want to hear, I guess you clicked the wrong video, because I'm kind of just coming crazy at Hasbro right now. Hasbro messed up and they need to be called out. So I'm calling them out. But there's that. But I don't know. Let me, for a little bit right now, just a little bit, let me talk about some of the stuff that Hasbro actually did good on, which is weird because Hasbro doesn't like to do good on anything, but yeah, let me talk about that. And when I talk about that now, I'm going to be mentioning Pro Series. So yeah, I did say it in the beginning of the video, I'm gonna bring it back now. I actually do like the Pro Series Stadium. And when it comes to that stadium, it's actually legal in Metal Fight Limited now, which is super surprising, but I don't blame them. Back in the Metal Fight days, they did not give us anything similar to a BB-10. The closest thing we got to a BB-10 was those weird, like, oval stadiums with 2 stadium out pockets, okay? We did not get anything close to a BB-10. So for a Pro Series Stadium to look so similar to a BO9 standard stadium, and on top of that have 4 stadium out pockets to try to like give you an actual chance for attack types to do good, I think it's dope. And I also think that the slope is pretty good. So Pro Series Stadium is a big W. I've talked about that in a bunch of my previous Bay huntings. One of the only things I'll give Hasbro credit for. But when it comes to the actual bays themselves in Pro Series, this is kind of like what Hasbro did with Legends. So I didn't talk about it when I was talking about Metal Fight stuff, but, you know, I'll talk about that later. But basically, I think Pro Series is cool because they're giving, you know, regular kids a chance now to try to own some TT bays, which is pretty cool, if I'm going to say so myself. I mean, we were given a similar opportunity during the Metal Fight days, so that's dope. And these bays actually had teeth, and the colors looked pretty good. The only problem is that why did Hasbro increase the price of Pro Series when it wasn't going to be actual Takara Tomy Beyblades? If they literally did what they wanted to do, which was like make TT bays like common for everyone, which are the better bays, like we've just mentioned already, but you know, they want to make them common for everyone, then why would you not make them the same? You know, they gave you random parts in Pro Series, and on top of that, increase the price, which I don't see as justifiable, you know. And even though I'm at the part right now where I'm saying this is the stuff that Hasbro actually did right, I think it makes me even more pissed off because what Pro Series tells me is that Hasbro had this ability to give you what you wanted this whole time and just chose to take the cheap way out, hollow out layers, take out metal, not give you the right gimmicks just to get your money. Just to get your money. Like, they had this ability the whole time and they just sat on it this whole time. So, like, really, I mean, I can kind of get why people would buy Pro Series too, because not everyone can order online. When I was a kid, I wasn't able to order online. And that's why I hate Hasbro, because I had to depend on Hasbro to get my first Beyblades. And they were good, Metal Fusion, Metal Masters, but Metal Furies, they sucked. That was when I literally begged my parents every day, please let me order Beys online because I cannot buy this. I don't want this, Luckily they gave in, and you can go on my channel, you can see all my great content from back then with my BB10 and my 40 Beys and stuff. But nah, man, I really feel bad for these kids because I know how it is. Not all kids can order online and you're really stuck with Hasbro Beys, but at least you can get Pro Series now. And even though it's random parts, even though the price is increased, they're still better than what they're giving you already. They're still better than the absolute atrocity of Slingshot and Hypersphere and Speedstorm and Quad Drive. Straight up, it's so much better. So there's that. But yeah, another thing, I already talked about this in the beginning, but let's talk about Metal Fight, what Hasbro actually did good real quick. And it actually made it easier to get a lot of these parts. So there was a thing called Beyblade Legends, which was the Metal Fight version of Pro Series, but Hasbro actually did it right. So they gave us exclusive recolors, which now in 2022, those recolors are worth so much. It's so hard to find Beyblade Legends Spark Effects recolors now. Even though half of them were hollow, the Legends Spark Effects ones are so rare. Something like Blitz Unicorno, Jade Jupiter, Flash Sagittario. These are all really good Beys that Hasbro just released for retail. That was awesome. And a year after that, they gave us the TT colors as well, which was great. It made it available for everyone to get Beys. I also picked up a lot of the Beys I was missing during that time. So it was great. And it, like I said, during Shogun Steel, Hasbro made it very easy to get these rare parts, Something like Garago or Genbo was super expensive and rare to find, even back then. Not rare, Genbo was kind of rare, but they both were super expensive, and Hasbro just released them in single packs. So that's a big W for Hasbro, and I did definitely appreciate that. The Legends and, the Shogun Steel, definitely good. But yeah, I feel like that made up for the BS, that absolute BS that they did in Metal Fury with hollowing out everything. Oh my God, it kind of did make up for it. But see, Pro Series didn't do that though. Pro Series gave random parts. So, and also another thing that I forgot to mention, the plastic was messed up in Pro Series. It wasn't actual plastic like the TT ones were. So the teeth ended up wearing out more. See, Beyblade Legends were exact replicas, which was good because you could actually buy TT Beys in the US now. So I don't know why Hasbro cheaped out in Pro Series. They should have just done the same thing, but I don't know. And yeah, another thing that I talked about in the beginning that I want to mention again is the Rev Up launcher. Still to this date, there has not been a better Beyblade launcher. There are people in 2022 that are modifying the Rev Up launcher so it can launch burst Beyblades, and I've seen videos of it, and damn, that thing can pack a punch. So yeah, Rev Up launcher, super rare, super expensive nowadays, but that is a Hasbro creation. They did not copy that, and like I said, that is probably the best thing Hasbro's done so far. And the last thing, really, that I think Hasbro did good on was giving us Beys, just like in Metal Fight, giving us Beys that we saw in the anime that Takara Tomy did not want to give us. I mentioned Grand Capricorn earlier in the video, and they did that with Magma Ifrit. Magma Ifrit, I know a bunch of people, I'm talking to you, Josh, I know a lot of people that were really fiending for Magma Ifrit, and they weren't actually able to get it because TT kept playing, yo, and they never released Magma, but Hasbro did. So if you were someone who enjoyed that Beyblade, you're actually able to get it, even though it wasn't an actual TT or Dynamite Battle Beyblade made by TT. At least you're able to get it, so that was cool. That's really it. That's all I can say good about Hasbro. On like the 30, negative things I said, those like 5 things is pretty much all I can say about Hasbro. And that's me being nice, okay? Like, I think all of those are also invalidated except for Legends and the Rev Up launcher, which is Metal Fight. This is a Burst video. So I don't think Hasbro did anything good when it came to Burst, including Pro Series. But I was being nice, so I did want to give that kind of point of view as well. Basically, to wrap up this video, because this video is getting very long now, Hasbro's lack of gimmicks and less weight and pointless gimmicks that nobody asked for, as well as driving up prices, especially during QD by like $2 to $5 per bay, is the real reason why Hasbro Beys suck. They suck. They fail to mimic the TT Beys, which is obviously what the consumer wants, and they constantly, time and time again, are telling you that they want your money. They don't care about if you're satisfied or not. They want your money, and if they have to drop gimmicks, take out weight, change the overall Bey itself, and do whatever they have to do, take out plastic, use cheap plastic, they will do anything they can to secure your money and, put it in their pocket. So the real reason Hasbro Beys suck, in my opinion, is because they focus too much on the money you're giving them and not on the, consumer response. TT has always focused on creativity. TT has always focused on making the consumer happy. And TT has always strived to make the Beys that you get in your hand as real as the ones you see on your TV. Hasbro will never compare. And it's been about since maybe 2011, since Metal Masters 2012, that Hasbro hasn't been able to compare. So yeah, Hasbro, you're still going to have some loyal fans like Spider and his entire army, which I hope you come and comment on this video too, bro, because you really got me some engagement on my other video. I hope you blow up this video just like the other one, man. Come on, I'll probably personally DM you this video just because you were like harassing me on my first video. But no, real talk, after listening to this video and hearing everything I have to say, like, how can you still be a Hasbro fan to this day? Really. To wrap up this video, I kind of just want to say, comment down in the comment section below if you think I messed up on some parts. If you think I'm being too hard, or maybe I'm just blatantly lying and you want to correct me, do that in the description. But if you agree with me, which based on my experience in the Beyblade community the last year and a half, I think 90% of you, maybe 95% of you will actually agree with everything I had to say. And if you are one of those people that agree with what I'm saying, comment #Hasbro in the comments down below. Hasbro, swear to God, yo, because what are you doing, Hasbro? And that's pretty much it. So please don't forget to like, comment, favorite, and share. But most importantly, please subscribe, and thanks so much for watching. Peace out, guys. Hey, Hasbro, what are you smoking?